Hello then welcome to a brand new video. Now in this video you are looking at question 2b of BECE 2024. It says a man shared an amount of money between his children, that is Baaba and then William, in the ratio 6:5. Baaba received that is 1,200 cedis. And you have to find the total amount shared. And then they said William invested his share in an account at a rate of 20% simple interest per annum for 2 years. Find the total amount in his account at the end of the 2 years. So how do we go about this? This question here applies ratio and proportion, and it also applies simple interest. Okay. So looking at what we have here, we know the ratio of Baba's share and then William's share is 6:5. So let's write that down. So if it is 6:5, then we can say that the total ratio, you know how we get the total ratio. So the total ratio is going to be 6 plus 5. And 6 plus 5 will then give us what? 11. With this, we can solve the first part of the question. Now, whose portion do we have? We have Baba's amount she received, and her ratio corresponds to 6. So we say that if 6 is giving us what? 1,200, then 11 will give us more. You see, so what then would 11 give us? And mind you, where are we getting this 11 from? The 11 is from the total ratio. The total ratio will represent the total amount shared. You see, so in that case, we say if 6 is giving us 1,200, then 11 is giving us more. And if 11 will give us more, then we say if more, let's divide. You see, so we have 11 over 6 times our 1,200. And evaluating that, that is 11 over 6 times 1,200. We are going to get what? 6 divides itself once, and it's going to divide 1,200 how many times? 200 times. You see, now we have 11 times 200, and 11 times 200 will then give us 2,200. This here represents how much was shared altogether. That is the total amount shared. So we then come and say, therefore, the total amount shared was what? This over here, 2,200. Now that is it for the first part of the question. So if you have gotten the total amount shared, then we can easily even determine how much William received. You see, so let's try and then do that. So we'll say William's share is then the 2,200 minus our 1,200. You see, and subtracting that, we realize that William then had what? 1,000 cedis. You see, so William's share is 1,000 cedis. Now let's take note of this share. It says he invested his share in an account at a rate. So rate of 20% simple interest per annum for 2 years. 2 years is talking about time. So T is equal to 2. You have to find his total amount. Find the total amount in his account at the end of the 2 years. Before we get to the total amount, then we need to get his interest he would obtain after the year. Then we now add it to how much he put in there. And remember, in simple interest, how much you are putting or how much you are investing is what we call the principal. So principal now is 1,000. That was his share we calculated for over here. You see, so the total amount is then, that is the total amount after 2 years is then going to be his principal plus his interest. Hence, we will need to solve for the interest. Now we know the interest formula. So simple interest is principal times time times rate all over 100. So let's quickly do some substitution here and then solve. Principal being what? 1000 times a time of 2, then times a rate of 20 all over 100. You can pause and then solve this quickly and give me the answer on the comment section. So if you're able to simplify, great. Now this 0 cancels out this 0 and this also takes out this. So you'll be left with what? 100 times 2 times 2, which is 4. And that gives us a 400. Now this 400 here represents his interest. As I've said, his total amount. So the total amount is then principal plus the interest. So total amount after 2 years is then what? 1000 plus the 400, which will then give us 1400 cedis. And that is it for question that is 2b that we are trying to solve. So if there's anything you don't understand, you can always let me know at the comment section and then I'll address that for you. Now these are some questions you can try on your own just to test your understanding. They are just two. They said a woman shared this between her daughters, and then you need to calculate how much Akosia received, and then this one here which applies simple interest, and this in blue is question 2. So that brings us to the end of this session. Now in our next session we'll be looking at question 3a of the BECE 2024. See you there and then stay blessed. Bye for now.